In 2020, I took some drastic measures and embarked on a year-long no-buy. What does one do after that? My fear was that I am going to get right back into my really bad shopping habits. So I've created a plan. This is going to be a video where I share with you my low buy and budget rules for the year of 2021. If you're interested to hear what I have in store, then please keep on watching. Hi guys, how is everyone doing? I am doing an exciting but at the same time scary video today. This is going to be the introduction to my low buy budget year of 2021. I am calling it a combination of the two because my budget is a little fluid and you will see what I mean once I get into my actual rules. I've created 5 rules for myself as of right now, but I am giving myself the chance to tweak these rules as the year goes. I might see that this is a little too flexible for me and I get carried away, or vice versa. I might realize that there are things I didn't think about when creating these rules and that the budget that I have set for myself is just not enough for certain basic needs. I will explain myself as we go through the actual 5 rules that I have set in place. But before we jump right in, if you are new to my channel, then first of all, thank you so much for clicking on this video and stopping by. Welcome. My name is Natalia, and as you've just heard, I am basically jumping ship from one very restrictive journey to another, still fairly restrictive journey in the year of 2021. I will be doing a lot of videos this year that still revolve around makeup I already own, so you will see content such as Shop My Stash, Project Pans, and a lot of videos that revolve around makeup I already own, ways to use it, ways to get inspired to use it, have conversations about mindful and conscientious shopping, and it will be sprinkled in with an occasional new release here and there. So if you are interested in that kind of content, and if you are interested in joining our frugal family over here, then please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a video. And now let's get into my 5 rules for the year of 2021 as I embark on my low buy budget journey. Alright, so before I jump into the actual rules, I've already briefly mentioned, but I just want to state it one more time. Obviously, these are my rules, this is my money, so if I feel like I need to change things and tweak things, I am going to do that throughout the year, but I am pretty confident that certain things will stay in place for the entire year. I've never done a budget. I am terrible at money and budgeting in general. So this is a learning curve for me. Everything I do through my channel also seeps into other parts of my life. So I'm going to just have to see how things balance out and whether I've managed to actually structure things in a way that makes sense. If I decide to add a rule, if I decide to remove a rule and substitute it with something else, I'm giving myself the leeway to do that. I would also love to hear if you are on a no buy or a low buy and what your rules are. If you are a content creator and you've done videos revolving around this, please let me know down below. I would love to check that out, because the other reason I am giving myself the freedom to tweak things is I may have not thought of things, and I would like to have the freedom to add on to these rules, tweak them in case I think of a better way myself, or I hear somebody say something that really speaks to me and that really rings true for my personality, my habits, and I decide that I need to do the same thing. So I hope you guys will understand. I hope you can see where I'm coming from. This is an all evolving process and we'll just see how it goes. All right, let's get into rule number 1. Rule number 1 is going to be purely a financial one. It's going to be a budgeting rule. It's going to have 2 parts to it. One is a clear monthly amount that I am allowed to spend out of my bank account, and another one is going to be a more fluid amount because it's going to depend on what I end up selling secondhand or things that are in my not just beauty collection that I decide to let go of, but also just in my daily life, be it things I decide to sell on Poshmark that are fashion related, or things that I decide to sell on Facebook Marketplace that are house related. I would like this low buy budget to kind of go hand in hand with an overall start to a decluttering journey in my my life. This does not apply just to beauty, but there is going to be a caveat to this. It's basically not going to be just a straight cut, oh, anything I sell I can then use to buy things for myself. If you've watched my 2020 no buy year finale, you would have heard me discuss consumer debt and how I am trying to get rid of my consumer debt,
and how we have a first siren of the video.
No, quiet again. Okay, good. And how I am actively trying to get rid of my consumer debt.
No, there is a siren after all. It was not a false alarm.
You would have heard me talk about how I am actively trying to get rid of my consumer debt. And that was part of why I started my no buy, and I did make a dent in my consumer debt in the year of 2020. But with everything going on in the world, I am not where I want to be. So the debt-free journey continues and will probably continue for the next several years. And I would like to combine the two things, my beauty budget along with paying off debt, and have them kind of work together and work with each other to help me reach my goals of becoming consumer debt free. While that might not make perfect sense to you guys, because, you know, I guess in order to clear debt, one wouldn't buy anything. I know myself, and I know I need the little sprinkling of treats along the way to keep me motivated, to keep me consistent, and to keep me on track to the good habits in my life. I can very easily succumb to the whole,
oh, I just want to do it now, and like, we live once and life is short, so why the hell not?
I'm trying to work through that. So I've kind of made a pact with myself. I have a ton of things in my apartment that for clothes I can either no longer fit into, or just no longer work for me, or just honestly can live without. I might be going through a bit of a decluttering journey as far as my makeup is concerned, and then I'm sure along the way there will be things in my house that I can find that I no longer need, that I could list on Facebook Marketplace in my area or something like that. While I have been selling things on and off on eBay and Poshmark for years, ever since my college days, it's always a slow process for me. I really don't enjoy the listing and the writing out the descriptions, and I never make time for it. So I wanted this to motivate me to do more of that, and I knew that the only way to do that was to kind of give me a little bit of a treat in return. So what I have decided to do is to actually split any earnings, so any profits, in half, and immediately put 50% of what I end up selling this year towards my credit card debt, and 50% towards anything that I want to purchase for myself that falls in the beauty, so makeup, skincare, fashion, and all of that, jewelry, anything that I consider things to make me more beautiful. Hence beauty budget. I think Hannah Louise Boston coined that term, but you know, it's a beauty budget for all of us. I have a feeling that this is a good decision for me. Yes, I could be using more of my profits towards paying my debts, but I will constantly then feel deprived. And I feel like a full year on a no buy was enough. And now I need to find a healthy balance in my life where I don't restrict myself completely, but I don't go off the deep end like I have in the past. After that very long explanation of what is going to go into my budget, I am going to set a fixed amount of $75 a month. This is not going to change. It's going to be every single month. I will allow myself to roll over any unused portions of that amount, just because I don't feel like $75 in the modern world is that much money. And there will be quite a few categories that will go into this budget, which will be my rule number 2 that I'm about to touch on. So I'm allowing myself to roll over anything unused. I'm allowing myself $75 to start with every single month. And then if I sell anything and I decide that I need some extra money, I am allowed to pull 50% of my profit from those sales and supplement that budget. Rule number 2, what goes in to this budget? And frankly, it's pretty much everything. I am not going to make exceptions for replacement items. I am not going to set this in place only for makeup. If I don't set this budget for pretty much anything beauty related, I know that my mind will find ways to divert away from my rules and make excuses for why something is not in this category but in that one, etc. So I'm not doing any of that. It's a strict $75 budget unless I have sales that are coming in that can supplement that, and that goes for makeup, skincare, and any sort of fashion and accessories. It doesn't matter if it is a replacement item, it doesn't matter if it is an essential, it all has to go into this $75 budget. And again, I did this because I know myself. I will find ways to stretch and extend. And also I did this because I really want to clean out some closet space and get rid of some stuff, and I'm hoping that this will motivate me to do that, because if I do want something extra, if I need a pair of jeans that costs more than my entire monthly budget, if I need a pair of shoes that costs more than my entire budget, or whatever it might be, I have to try to first sell certain things that I'm not using in my house in order to supplement this $75 budget that I've set for myself. So that's kind of how I'm playing this game. And I am hoping that it will kind of be fun. Like that's generally how I succeed at things, is if I convince myself that this is fun, that this is a game, that this is exciting, that, you know, I'm in some ways competing against myself. So we'll see. We'll see if my gut instincts about myself are correct or not, or if I end up just driving myself crazy this year. Rule number 3 is I'm not allowed to purchase any skincare items in any category of my routine unless I'm down to only 1 or 2 products in that category. So for example, I just filmed my 21 and 21 Project Pan, and it's a really exciting video because it's a collab. So if it's already up, which I have a feeling it will be before this video, I will go ahead and link it. In that video, I actually talked about how I am putting moisturizer in my Project Pan even though I have one that I'm currently working on, and it's 2 different products. And I'm doing that in order to motivate myself to continue using products, because even after an entire year of not buying any moisturizers because I was on a no-buy, I still have at least 4 or 5 brand new moisturizers sitting in my bathroom. That's not normal. That's not healthy. That's unnecessary. That is excessive. So I am determined to, at least in the category of skincare, get a bit of a handle on myself. I need to do this one thing at a time. I'm not going to try to restrict myself like that to makeup, because I know it's just not going to work yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not a minimalist. That was not the intent of my no-buy. And this low-buy and budgeting situation is not because I have any intent of being a minimalist either. But at least in skincare, there's absolutely no reason for me to have 5 moisturizers after I've already spent an entire year using up what I have. That is why I decided that I am going to single out skincare in this low buy budget journey and actually create a rule that does not allow me to purchase anything in a category of my skincare routine unless I'm down to only 1 or 2 products in that category. So now we're getting into actual makeup rules, because of course, being that I also have a beauty channel, that is going to be the main focus of this channel. I would like to sprinkle in some fashion and some accessories in this year, but primarily we are going to focus on makeup. So I don't want things to get out of hand, because it's very easy to take that $75 and decide that suddenly I'm going to buy 10 e.l.f. blushes that are $3 each, or 5 drugstore bronzers or highlighters or whatever it might be. So I decided that I'm going to limit myself to a certain number of products that I am allowed to purchase in most categories in my makeup collection for the entire year. There's going to be one exception, and that of course is going to be eyeshadow palettes. We're going to get into that in a second. But for every other category, with the exception of eye products, so that means eyeshadow palettes, eyeliners, because a lot of mine are old, but for blushes, bronzers, highlighters, foundations, concealers, primers, powders, like pretty much every product category with very few exceptions, I am setting myself to a maximum of 3 items this entire year in 2021. And I'll be honest, at first there was a part of me that actually singled out a few categories and I was going to just say nothing in that category at all. In fact, I have that still written down in my notes. It says no powder blush, and then I kind of wrote next to it, or max 3. And the reason for that is I instantly thought, in 2020, the one thing I really wanted to buy at the start of the year in March.
I guess that wasn't really the start of the year. That was more like the month that the apocalypse happened.
The one thing that I really wanted to buy in March of 2020 and I couldn't because of my no buy was the Ofra and Samantha March collaboration, because I adore Sam. I've met her once in New York in 2019. She's one of my absolute favorite YouTubers. I really wanted to support her and try her products because I trust what she created with Ofra, and I was really curious. So when I made that rule, no powder blushes, and then I read it back to myself a few days later, that is instantly what came to mind. And I was like, wait, but what if Ofra does another incredible sale, and they did a few last year, and Samantha March's collab is part of that sale, and you still have budget money like that, you're gonna want her blush, and I know I will. This is why I made this rule. It's almost like my safety blanket. I don't want to necessarily follow through on purchasing 3 in every category, but I want to have the option. That's where we stand. Basically a maximum of 3 products in most categories. Some categories I will take advantage of this because I am actually looking for products that are better, like for example, concealers and foundations. I have a feeling I will want to try something. So having that option of trying up to 3 foundations and up to 3 concealers this year is something I'm excited and looking forward to. But then with categories such as blush and bronzer, you know, it's going to be one-offs. If there's an amazing product that comes out or an amazing deal on something I've wanted for a long time, then I can consider it if my budget allows it and not feel super guilty about it. And then the 5th, the final and kind of the most crucial rule to all of this is of course going to revolve around eyeshadow palettes. And I'm going to follow suit here on something that Andrea Matilano has done, at least she used to. I have not had a chance to catch up on everybody's videos, so I don't know if she's continuing to do this, but I'm going to limit myself to 1 eyeshadow palette a month. It doesn't mean that I have to buy an eyeshadow palette that month, obviously, but I am only allowing myself 1 eyeshadow palette a month. So for example, for the month of January, I have already hit my budget threshold, and I have already, by the time you're watching this, probably purchased my 1 eyeshadow palette for the month, provided that I can get my hands on it and it doesn't sell out in a minute because I am filming this before it is released. But if you guys have watched my channel and know some of the creators that I have talked about, you can probably guess what eyeshadow palette I am super excited to get my hands on in the month of January. The only clue, and a very obvious clue, that I can give you guys is today I was inspired by Rupi Minhas to create an all blue eyeshadow look, something I actually don't believe ever done. And I opened up a ton of different eyeshadow palettes to try to find, you know, the sprinkling of blue eyeshadows that I own. And there was an eyeshadow that caught my eye, and it's in my Kat Von D Metal Matte palette, and it's called Nebula, and it is on the outer V of my eyeshadow look today. I think that's all you need to know if you follow makeup news to know which eyeshadow palette I am hoping to pick up in the month of January. Other than that, no more than 1. I actually would prefer it's less than that. I don't know if I would like to have 12 brand new eyeshadow palettes by the end of 2021. I still have an overwhelming amount of eyeshadow palettes in my collection that are virtually new or new that I have yet to fully play with and see if I'm going to continue enjoying and keep them in my collection. So I have a feeling between how many times I do my makeup and how many eyeshadow palettes I currently own, I would probably be very overwhelmed with adding 12 new ones. I did get 2 as Christmas gifts, and I'm not gonna count them, of course, as part of these 12 that I am allowed to acquire if I choose to. But I'm already starting to feel like, oh wow, okay, I really want to try these new ones and make many looks with them, but at the same time I've got all of these other ones that I still have my eye on in my own older collection. And I just know I'm gonna get to that place where I was at the start of 2020, where I would look at everything I have and just feel a certain level of anxiety that I should not be feeling because it's just makeup. So we'll see how I do with that. Gifts do not count at all as part of these low buy and budgeting rules. I did the same thing for my no buy, and I will continue to stand by that. I don't want to take away from the rules I have set for myself and from the things I might potentially want to purchase just because I am acquiring something that somebody else chose for me. I hope that you guys will understand that and agree with that, and I hope I haven't left anything out, at least immediate. As I said, I am going to allow myself to tweak these rules, and I will come back, maybe not every month. I tried monthly check-ins for my no buy and failed about 2 check-ins in, so I'm not committing myself to monthly check-ins, but I will try to come back as often as possible and fill you guys in on what I've purchased with my budget and give you some thoughts. If you have any questions for me, if you have any suggestions for me, please go ahead and leave them down below. And just one more reminder, if you haven't already, and if you're curious to see where 2021 will take me, to please subscribe. And other than that, I really thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys are all doing really well. I hope that you're continuing to stay healthy, to take care of yourself and those around you. And I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye guys.